What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to give you guys a very quick update on what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and to the broader markets. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on invested cash. The offer ends very soon, in just about 15 hours from now. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with the markets. So, looking at SPY, I just want to say that right now there's weakness that's developing on it because I mentioned that there was a large head and shoulders that's been developing all this time. There's this left shoulder right over here, there's a head up here, and then there's this right shoulder. And then on top of that, when you zoom into the right shoulder, you will see that there is another miniature head and shoulders that makes that up. So there's like a left shoulder here, there's a head up here, then another right shoulder. So this is the era of head and shoulders right now for SPY, and we're just starting to see them panning out very nicely. So to turn back up, you want to see SPY reclaim at least 592 or so, but we're not really doing that. We're looking like we're a lot weaker because SPY in the morning tried to bounce. I titled my morning video a temporary bounce because I said the bounce would likely be very temporary and to watch to see rejection very close to the low 590s. And what happened was we were not able to hold above 590. As you guys can see, SPY is rejecting, not doing the best of jobs. And this structure still looks bearish, especially as we have this imbalance down here that's dragging us lower. So for the time being, this is favoring. It might be dipping to about 585 to 586 in that range. But the problem is there is a support over there that's very significant. That's where we have a lot of buyers trying to defend it, just like what happened yesterday. So we're not ready to really break through it yet. Unless we lose 585, we're just going to shuffle for a bit around here. If we lose 585, we will turn a lot more bearish, and that's when we're going to get the confirmation of 580 and then 577. I think most likely it will happen eventually. We're just not there yet. It's going to take some time, but eventually we should see that over the next couple of days. Maybe as soon as today, if we get that break, we'll see about that. But eventually we will be breaking supports to see a much bigger drop. On ES, exact same setup as SPY. As you guys can see, there's a very crystal clear head and shoulders. You have a left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder. And then when you zoom into the right shoulder, same setup. There's also a miniature head and shoulders here. This would suggest us coming back down to about 59.20 and eventually all the way down to about 58.80. So we look more weak with the head and shoulders. I think we favor downside for the time being. I see the same thing developing on other factors such as NQ. We had a high up here, we came down, made a lower high, and we're continuing to reject. You want to see this break above at least 21,600. Since we're struggling to do that, we're favoring the downside back down to about 21,250, then all the way back down here. For the QQQ, the same thing is going on. We had a high up here, came down, made a lower high, and we're rejecting. We're looking for a test of about 511. If that fails us, we're looking for a test of about 507. So watch to see how we end up going. For Tesla, Tesla's also showing some weakness as we're making lower highs right over here. We had a high up here, we came down, made a lower high, and we're just continuing to drop. We want to see this break above 428. We have not been able to do that. We actually pushed that resistance only to reject. So I want to say something about Tesla. It's very special because Tesla is going to be closing today with the market, right? Then we have no trading on New Year's for Wednesday. And then on Thursday, January 2nd, it's going to be 2025. The new year is coming. But just know that Tesla is scheduled to announce their deliveries at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. So if you're holding anything overnight, you may have to hold through deliveries. They most likely, there's a very high probability they do announce deliveries on Thursday, but the timing could be a little bit varied. Sometimes it's a little bit delayed, but they are scheduled to do it at 9 a.m. So, like I said before, if you're holding anything overnight, be careful on Tesla. You might have to hold through deliveries, and then that's going to be very important. So just keep that in mind. For Nvidia, like I said before, we happen to have this inverse cup and handle like structure. We have not been able to hold above 138. I did mention to everyone to turn bullish. You want to see it break 142, and so far it's struggling to do that. There are buyers trying to hold it above this 134 area, but then there's sellers who are stopping it near 138. So there is that risk of this inverse cup and handle, which could be leading to some downside to the lower 130s. For Bitcoin, also, we are in a range right here. We did push our 200 EMA at 95,800. We weren't able to break past it, so this could be dipping back down to 94,000 flats. So watch to see how things end up going, and we're going to be very patient nonetheless. As far as Apple goes, we are getting a rejection right over here. We're not holding above our 50 EMA very well. So it's going to be looking for a retest of 250. If that fails, we're looking for a much larger dump back down to about 248. So there's a very good chance that that's going to be what's happening. For Palantir, we're also rejecting here. We could be dipping back down to about the 76 area or below. So watch to see if that ends up being the case. For the Russell, we also have a head and shoulders. We want to see this try to get back above 222. Otherwise, this is favoring a head and shoulders, a left shoulder, a head and a right shoulder, which could be leading to about the 218 area or below. For Coinbase, we look a little bearish. We're on a bit of a downtrend. We are also rejecting off our 20 EMA, which makes me suspect the possibility of this dipping back down to 248. Amazon has the same thing going on. We're rejecting right over here, making lower highs. Notice that Amazon is showing a weakness. We did call this out in my video yesterday. We're looking for essentially 218 as our next target or below, so just keep that in mind. For Meta, we also have an inverse cup and handle. There's this giant cup here, then the handle. We are trying to hold at 589 or 200 EMA. If we do lose that, we're looking for a dump to about 582. There's a little bit of weakness on the setup, but we haven't lost critical support yet, so we're waiting to see if that happens. Otherwise, Meta is very choppy. Microsoft is more bearish. We're not able to hold above 428, so this is favoring 420 or below. And then Google also has a similar setup. We have a head and shoulders. There's like a left shoulder here, a head and then a right shoulder. Unless we break past 198 to 200, this is favoring downside. We're going to be watching to see if we could hold 192. It's very choppy between our 20 and 50 EMAs here. But if this fails, we're going to be looking for a move back down to 190. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. So please have a great rest of your day. Just know the VIX is showing a lot of potential to me because it's holding above its 50 and 200 EMAs on the 4-hour time frame. As long as this holds, it could break out, which could suggest there's downside coming to the markets. So that's what I find to be the most likely possibility. So for now, there are buyers who are trying to hold us above 586, around that range for SPY, but there's no guarantee it's going to last because we could still lose this as time goes on. For now, they're trying to defend it there, but like I said before, we're on a downtrend. There's still a weak pattern, and this does suggest that eventually we will most likely lose support. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a good rest of your day. I'll be back in a couple of hours for another update. Thank you for listening, and just know I forgot one more thing I wanted to talk about. I think people were asking me about Palantir. There's one more thing I forgot to say about this. For Palantir, um, for those who are interested in this, just know that it's showing a little bit of weakness here. Although this was forming a possible cup and handle, I just want to say that that's not guaranteed right now because we're barely holding 77 or 50 EMA. It's very flat. If we fail at 77, we're looking for a dip to about 75 or below. And then if we break past 78.5, we could try to push. But this is looking weaker to me. It looks like it's barely holding 77, and it could lose that and start dipping closer to 75. So just keep that in mind. Anyways, that's it for this one. I thank you all once again for listening. Just know the market is showing weakness. Tesla and many other EVs are going to be announcing deliveries very soon, so they could be very much just exceptions to what's about to happen since we're waiting for deliveries. So just keep that in mind. We'll see what happens. Anyways, have a good rest of your day. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours, and peace out.